Hey guys, so I just wanted to take some time and talk about some of the video games that I have enjoyed playing growing up. I grew up playing video games. One of my favorite two video games that I started playing out as a kid were Tetris Attack on the Super Nintendo and also Donkey Kong Country 2 on the Super Nintendo. I remember getting up on Saturday mornings playing those with my older sister. We did that a lot. It was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed playing all those games together. There were a lot of other games that we played as well, but those were probably the top two that I really enjoyed playing and that I have the most memories from. If you haven't played Tetris Attack, it's really fun. It's essentially, you take Tetris, you mix it with a Candy Crush kind of thing or Bejeweled, and that's what you're going to do. You have the things that you have in the game, they're blocks that rise up that you need to be able to match 3 to be able to drop them down. If you match 4 or more in a turn, in one move, you can get it so that you send blocks over to your opponent's side with that. And based on how many blocks you're able to do, the maximum you can do in one turn, like one movement, is 10 without like adjusting anything. That'll send a nice amount of blocks to your opponent's side. I said size. Oh geez. And with those things, those blocks continue to come up, different speeds. If you match blocks and end up having it so that they fall down and they match another one, that gives you different multipliers, and that'll send a larger block over to your opponent. I think the highest multiplier I've gotten is like a ×8 multiplier, and that gets just a huge block that just falls on your opponent's side, and they have to match and touch that block to get rid of that block. If they don't touch the block when they match, when they do make a match, it doesn't go away. It's incredible. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't played it, highly suggest that you kind of look into it. It might be expensive to get it nowadays just because it is so old, but if you do have a Super Nintendo and you want to try something new and you have the money for it, highly suggest picking that up. Really fun game to play. I'm hoping that they put it onto the Nintendo Switch just because it's so fun. You take that and it's using different Mario characters, specifically Yoshi and other characters that are like side characters from, you have Yoshi, you have the Raven, you have the Blarg, you have a Koopa Troopa, you have Magic Koopa, you have a Piranha Plant, you have Bowser, and all these other characters that you can play as, that you can do in a 2-player mode and play with these different characters. There is a specific way to be able to get to play as the villains, which are Koopa Troopa, Piranha Plant, Magic Koopa, and Bowser. In the 2-player mode, you have to, on both of your Super Nintendo controllers, you have to hit the L and R buttons at the same time. Both players have to do that at the same time to be able to unlock those 4 characters to be able to play them in the 2-player mode. So, kind of fun stuff. The music's really fun. The sound effects are amazing. It's just a lot of nostalgia for me to just think about this game. On top of that, a lot of different games I've played. 2 of the franchises I've probably played the most are the Legend of Zelda franchise and the Pokemon franchise. Legend of Zelda franchise, one of my by far favorite franchises of all time. I've played most of the games in the Zelda franchise. Probably my favorite would be, I would say, before Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, definitely was either Skyward Sword or Twilight Princess. Those are really good ones. They did such a good job with both of those. I really personally enjoyed the art style of Skyward Sword, that they kind of took some of the art style they took inspiration from Twilight Princess and also Wind Waker, to kind of put those together to form their art style. Twilight Princess is such a good story, like just overall, and it's just wonderful. It's one of the most compelling stories of the Zelda franchise. Just by overall, like, most of the Zelda games, the story is like, oh, it's this kid, he gets a sword and gets to go, and is that they started making better stories with Links to the Past. It's really good. But just like the interaction of all the characters, like, it shows that he had a life before he had this entire plan that was going to go through in Twilight Princess, and that is amazing that it shows that, and it shows that the reason why he got into it is because everything went down south, because they invaded his hometown, they kidnapped his friends, and they made it hard, so he decided to chase after the villains in this. And everything else came from that. It's personally one of my favorite stories from a Zelda game. Skyward Sword also has a really, really good story behind it. The premise behind it, everything is really, really good. So those are probably my two favorite ones before Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild, I consider it like its own entity. It's just incredible what it does. I've played a little bit of Tears of the Kingdom, haven't played it too much because I don't own a copy myself. Not yet. Just not really buying a lot of games right now. My wife and I were more focused on saving to be able to get a house and to be able to afford to finish up our schooling with that. So real cool stuff there. And we go to Pokemon. My gosh, I have played every single generation of mainline series Pokemon games. I have not played the ORS games. I have not played Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon or the Let's Go games. I do have Omega Ruby. I did get that recently. When I say recently, within the last year I got that. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be able to play it. I haven't played it yet, but I will be playing that. So I'm excited for that one. It's just amazing, just catching Pokemon, being able to use them in different things. I recently, on Pokemon Scarlet, I did start doing a little bit of the competitive side with the ranked matches. I had a goal for myself. I'm like, I want to get into Great Ball rank, and I set up different teams. I'm like, all right, we'll try this out. I started working on like EV training things, tried different things. Like, I wasn't liking how my team was working with different ones, and then with the new rule set that was going to launch with the regulation D, I believe, is what it's called. I need to look at that again. But with that rule set where they were allowing Pokemon to get in, like, I really need to get on top of this to make sure that I can actually get into the Great Ball rank and I don't have to do a whole lot of other stuff before then. And I set up a Sandstorm team. I had Tyranitar, Lycanroc, Corviknight, Tinglu, Garchomp. It's a Sandville Garchomp, so that was actually really important for some of my battles. The only reason I won some of my battles is because of Sandvale, I'm gonna be honest. And also I had a Grimmsnarl. I did use a Great Tusk for parts of it here and there, but I felt like the actual like attack thing, I had too many other attackers already, and so I needed more support, so I swapped that for Grimmsnarl, and it worked really, really well. So with how it was set up, I would most of the time, because of the style of my team, I wanted to lead Tyranitar and Lycanroc most of the time, because that's the main function of the team was the Sandstorm. But I also had Grimmsnarl who could set up screens and, you know, hit people with Spirit Break, which is pretty nice. And of course, Tinglu and Corviknight were pretty bulky Pokemon that I have. And so they were pretty good switch-ins to just like have, if it was a harder matchup for me, I'm like, okay, let's think about this. And I got into Great Ball rank, and I'm like, yes, this is what I wanted to do, and I enjoyed it. It was pretty fun. I haven't really done too much with ranked matches since then. I also haven't really been playing Pokemon Scarlet recently. I have been playing a different game entirely. It's the game that I have logged the most hours into playing on the Nintendo Switch. It is Fire Emblem Three Houses. It's a lot of fun. I have logged over 400 hours into this game. It's by far the one I have been playing the most on the Switch. Probably my favorite game on the Switch. I have played the main story. I did all 4 main stories, and I've played Verdant Wind and Azure Moon 2 times. I'm on my 3rd playthrough of Verdant Wind. I'm doing it in Maddening. It's my first time doing Maddening, and it's a lot of fun. I enjoy the strategy aspect. I enjoy like how do you think about what do I do this? How do I do this? It's a lot of fun. If you haven't played any Fire Emblem games, really good one to start with because they made it very, very like beginner friendly with how all of the different helps that it uses. It uses different directional things to show, hey, you move here, enemies are gonna be able, these different enemies are gonna be able to hit you. And it shows you how much they can damage you and all these different things. I've played Conquest, and I've played Fates, Conquest and Birthright as well. After I played 3 Houses, I'm like, oh wow, it's amazing how much of beginner-friendly 3 Houses was compared to other games in the franchise. Like Conquest, Fate, Birthright, the Fates games, Awakening, all these other games that are recent ones, they're pretty user-friendly too, beginner-friendly compared to older ones. Like you go all the way back to, I've played the first one because it launched on the Switch for a little bit of time. Like, alright, let's get that. I played it a little bit. It is not beginner-friendly at all. It's like, you just do this. It's like any old game. They just throw you into it and they'll teach you how to do it. But it has definitely progressed as a series, and it's amazing what it has accomplished and really cool things, because it was about to die before Awakening hit, and then Awakening hit and it got revived, and then I started playing it just last year, I think, is when I played 3 Houses for the first time, and I loved it. I guess something I wanted to play for a while. I played Fire Emblem Warriors on the 3DS. I played that. I'm like, okay, this is kind of fun, but it's nowhere near like an actual Fire Emblem game because it is more based on like the Dynasty Warriors games. They have the Hyrule Warriors ones that are based on that too. It's just a hack and slash. You defeat huge hordes of enemies and do that kind of thing. So it was kind of like a nice little entrance into it. I've played Fire Emblem Heroes as well on the phone. Kind of nice entrance into the series as well. But to actually play a mainline series game from the Fire Emblem franchise, I'm like, this is actually really cool. My first actual tactical RPG game that I've played, though, was Pokemon Conquest on the DS. That one's interesting. It essentially takes Final Fantasy Tactics, turn it into Pokemon. You have different warlords that are trying to unite the entire region. It's based in essentially an ancient China where everybody's like a samurai or ninja kind of thing. It's like China, Japan influences. Really cool stuff. And everybody has their Pokemon that they partner in the battle. You just control the Pokemon. You recruit different masters and they can have their Pokemon join your squad and use those Pokemon. You command them in different battles and you have to unite the entire region. It's kind of fun. It is kind of long because it does have a lot of stories that you can play afterwards. After you finish the first story, there is a huge amount of stories. You go with every single warlord and you play with them. It is literally the exact same game over and over again. I tried it and I did not enjoy like the second half of the game, you could say. It wasn't as fun. I'm like, okay, it's just the same thing over and over, and it made it harder. I'm like, okay, I'm not enjoying this anymore. So I stopped playing it, but it was kind of fun the first time I played through it, and really cool thing with that. Talking about other Pokemon spin-off games, another really, really fun one. Pokemon Ranger games, really fun. My favorite, probably Shadows of Almia. Never actually played the first one. I have played the third one, Guardian Signs, a little bit. But Shadows of Omniat is so much fun. If you want more details about this, you should definitely check out Jaden Animations. She made an entire video talking about it. It's animated and it's a lot of fun. It just talks about all the kind of jokes that are in it. It is so much fun. So definitely really highly recommend this game if you want to try something that's older, that's different. Really, really fun. Lots of fun jokes in it. And it's just great. So I just wanted to take some time to talk about some of these games that I really enjoy. And yeah, I hope you guys have a fabulous day. Thank you for watching. I will be making more videos, so let's just get started with this. I did kind of tease on my Instagram that I was working on a project with these three guys over here. They're featured. So kind of fun stuff. They're going to be in my videos as well. I'll probably get some more stuff to put over on these shelves when I'm filming my videos, and lots of fun stuff. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Have a great day. Bye.